Something supernatural may have unfolded on the Temple Mount. And even now, no one, neither experts, residents, nor witnesses can explain what really happened. I want you to imagine this for a moment. You wake up one morning, scroll through your phone, and suddenly see multiple messages from people in Jerusalem talking about the same strange event, using the same descriptions, expressing the same uneasy feeling, but none of them knowing each other. That alone would be enough to make anyone pause. But what made this different, what made this almost impossible to ignore, was the tone behind those reports. It wasn't hysteria, it wasn't sensationalism, it was something else entirely. It was fear, mixed with reverence. The kind of reaction people have when they witness something that feels ancient, something that feels like it comes from another realm. It all began with a single post online from someone who said they heard a deep, vibrating sound echoing beneath the stones of the Temple Mount. Not around it, not above it, beneath it. The person described it as a resonance, like a shofar being blown inside the earth itself. A few minutes later, someone else posted a similar description, then another and another. In less than an hour, more than 20 different people claimed to have felt a vibration under their feet while standing on or near the Temple Mount Plaza, a vibration strong enough to make their legs tremble. And as the reports grew, so did the questions. Was it an earthquake? Was it construction underground? Was it some natural geological shift? Authorities checked, instruments checked. Nothing matched. No seismic activity, no explosion, no construction, no movement of tectonic plates, nothing. But the people who were there insisted that something had moved, something had awakened. As the day went on, more testimonies appeared, and the mystery gained a new layer when someone shared a video recorded near one of the ancient staircases, capturing a faint but eerie light rising from a narrow crack between the stones. Not a reflection, not a lens flare, not a flash, a soft, golden pulse appearing and disappearing, as if something alive was breathing beneath the surface. At first, people thought it was edited, but a second video from another angle appeared, then a third, and suddenly, the question changed from, "Is this real?" to "What does this mean?" By late afternoon, witnesses began describing an overwhelming sense of presence in the air. Some said they felt watched, others said they felt drawn to look toward a specific point on the ground, as if their attention was being guided. One woman said she felt her chest tighten, not out of fear, but out of something she called holy pressure, as if the atmosphere itself was full of expectation. And this is where the story becomes even more intriguing, because several tourists described seeing a faint translucent silhouette near the eastern side of the plaza, close to the ancient gates. A figure that they couldn't fully describe, not as a man, not as an angel, not as anything familiar. It was as if the light around that area took shape for a few seconds before fading into nothing again. Word spread fast, and with Jerusalem being Jerusalem, rumors multiplied. Some believed it was a sign connected to the end times. Others said it was a supernatural warning. Some believed it could be tied to ancient prophecies that mentioned the shaking of the nations, the awakening of creation, and the revealing of signs before the return of the Messiah. And even if none of this could be proven, something strange happened when researchers tried to analyze the footage. Small distortions appeared, glitches that were not normal for that type of camera, as if whatever was captured didn't want to be captured clearly. People who were near the Temple Mount that day said that electronic devices began malfunctioning, screens flickering, batteries draining abnormally fast, microphones picking up static cracks that sounded like distant trumpets or metallic echoes. Some even said the air temperature shifted abruptly, dropping several degrees in a matter of seconds. That shouldn't happen in such a stable environment, especially not with so many people experiencing it at the same moment. But it happened, and the strangeness kept growing. Later that evening, a group of religious students reported having vivid dreams only hours after leaving the site. Dreams of ancient gates opening, dreams of light splitting the stone floor, dreams of a voice calling out from beneath the ground in a language they didn't understand, yet somehow felt familiar. These weren't just random stories. These were people from different nations, speaking different languages, with no connection between them, but describing the same symbolic scene. It made many wonder if something was being revealed, not just physically, but spiritually. Something that the world has been waiting, knowingly or unknowingly, for thousands of years. Residents living around the old city claimed that overnight, a strange glow could be seen over the Temple Mount, faint but constant, like a thin pillar of mist illuminated from within. no spotlight was found. No natural explanation matched what dozens of witnesses insisted they saw. And remember, this is not a place where people exaggerate lightly. The Temple Mount is one of the most sensitive and heavily monitored locations on Earth. Cameras everywhere, security everywhere. And yet, none of the official channels released a statement, almost as if everyone preferred to stay silent rather than address something they couldn't explain. And here's what makes this even more intense. As people revisited the area in the following days, some began to notice tiny new cracks in the stone pavement, especially near the eastern side. Nothing dangerous, nothing dramatic, but new lines that weren't there before. This raised even more questions. Could the vibration people felt hours earlier have caused them? Could something beneath the surface be shifting? Some speculated that ancient structures buried deep under the Temple Mount might be experiencing pressure. Others believed that if this phenomenon was truly connected to something supernatural, then the Earth itself might be responding. What made this moment feel different from other strange events in Israel was how deeply it touched people spiritually. Many said they felt a sudden urgency to pray, to reflect, to think about prophecy, to think about time, especially about how close we might be to events foretold long ago. People searching for signs of the end times, prophecies about Jerusalem, Temple Mount mysteries, supernatural events in Israel, and return of Jesus signs flocked to the story, trying to piece together what could be happening. And the more they searched, the more unsettled they became, because everything pointed to something unusual unfolding right at the heart of Jerusalem. Some witnesses said they felt that the ground was waiting for a moment, waiting for a command, waiting for something that humanity has anticipated for centuries. And even though no one could confirm anything officially, the atmosphere in the old city changed. Tourists walked more quietly. Residents looked at the Temple Mount with longer, heavier gazes. And every person who heard the story felt that strange combination of fear and hope, the kind that only appears when you sense that history might be shifting right beneath your feet. So the question remains, what really happened on the Temple Mount? Was it a geological anomaly, a psychological phenomenon shared by hundreds at the same time, a spiritual sign, a prophetic announcement, or something that we cannot categorize because it belongs to a dimension beyond human understanding? Whatever it was, it has left a mark that people can't shake off, a lingering sense that this event was not random, not meaningless, not just another story that fades with time. And now, I want to hear from those who stayed with me until this moment. Tell me what you think this was. Comment the phrase, "I felt the mystery, so I know," who truly connected with this story. And tell me whether you believe this could be a sign of something greater unfolding in our generation. Your perspective matters more than you think, and reading your thoughts helps us build a community that seeks truth, seeks understanding, and stays awake to what the world often ignores. What happened on the Temple Mount seemed at first like an isolated occurrence, a strange moment that would eventually fade, like so many other unusual reports that circulate online. But that's not what happened. Instead of dissolving into silence, the story grew quietly, subtly, almost as if something or someone wanted people to keep looking, to keep asking questions, to not let the moment pass. And the deeper people looked, the more disturbing the patterns became. Because the Temple Mount event didn't just spark reactions in Jerusalem, it triggered unexpected responses in places far from Israel, responses that seemed strangely synchronized, as if something invisible was stirring on a global scale. In the days following the mysterious vibration and the golden pulse of light, unusual atmospheric phenomena were reported in multiple regions. In some countries, people described hearing low-frequency tones late at night, tones that resembled distant horns, even though no events or ceremonies were occurring. In other regions, strange halos appeared around the moon, perfectly uniform, brighter than usual, and lasting longer than normal lunar halos. And while none of these events could be scientifically linked to what happened in Jerusalem, people who had been following the Temple Mount mystery felt that everything was somehow connected, as if the world were experiencing echoes of the same unseen movement. The most unsettling detail came from a small group of researchers who had been studying magnetic fluctuations in the Middle East. They noticed a tiny but sudden spike in localized magnetic disturbance within the old city, a spike that lasted only a few seconds, precisely the same time frame in which witnesses said the ground vibrated beneath the Temple Mount. The anomaly was so brief and so specific that it defied any known natural explanation. And although the data was not widely publicized, a few leaked graphs circulating online made the mystery even harder to ignore. If the ground truly produced a pulse, strong enough to register on magnetic instruments, then whatever happened was not merely emotional or spiritual. It had a physical signature. A signature that scientists could study, but not interpret. And yet, even with scientific intrigue building, something more profound began unfolding among ordinary people, especially those who had visited Jerusalem at least once in their lives. Many wrote online that they felt a sudden and inexplicable urge to return, as if something were calling them back to the city. Some described dreams of standing at the eastern gate, watching it tremble. Others dreamed of skies opening, not in a violent way, but in a way that revealed a brilliance too intense for the human eye. A few even said they dreamed of hearing their own names, whispered on the wind, calling them not to fear, but to pay attention. These dreams weren't dramatic. They were quiet, symbolic, unsettling, and people who normally never believed in spiritual signs found themselves waking up in the middle of the night thinking about prophecy, about destiny, about the possibility that the ancient stories they once dismissed might be unfolding in real time. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, small details continued raising suspicion. Security personnel stationed around the Temple Mount reported radio disturbances they had never experienced before. Communication devices cracked with static, even on clear days, and some officers said they felt momentary pressure in their ears, like a shift in air density, which disappeared as suddenly as it appeared. A few guards admitted privately that during night shifts, they sensed movement in areas where no one was present, shadows flickering along the stones, even when the wind was still. The official cameras captured nothing unusual, but several guards claimed their peripheral vision caught brief flashes of light that vanished before they could turn to look directly at them. Tour guides who worked daily in the Old City also began reporting changes. Groups walking near the Temple Mount described feeling as though the atmosphere grew heavier the closer they approached the site, almost like a static charge in the air. Some tourists said it made their hearts race. Others felt strangely emotional, moved to tears without understanding why. One guide said that her group suddenly fell silent while standing near the ancient wall, as if the entire crowd felt the same invisible weight pressing around them. Another guide claimed that children, who normally run around carefree, grew quiet and stared at the ground, as if listening for something. These subtle reactions, scattered across different days and different groups, painted a picture of a place that seemed to be waiting, holding its breath for something yet unseen. In certain neighborhoods close to the Old City, older residents, people who have lived there for decades and seen everything, began saying the nights felt different. They described a calm so deep that it felt unnatural, almost like the city was pausing. One elderly man told neighbors that he hadn't felt this kind of stillness since his childhood, during moments when the city seemed suspended between fear and revelation. And while no one could precisely articulate what was strange, everyone felt it. It was in the air, in the silence, in the way conversations slowed, and eyes drifted toward the Temple Mount without thinking. What struck many observers most was how unified the reactions were among people who had nothing in common. Different cultures, different religions, different backgrounds, different beliefs, it all describing the same atmosphere of anticipation. It wasn't panic, it wasn't excitement, it was something in between, a quiet trembling of the human spirit, the kind that happens when people sense that the world is brushing against something sacred, something old, something powerful enough to make even the most skeptical person stop and wonder if our generation might be living through the opening lines of a story written long before any of us were born. Some analysts began comparing this moment to ancient historical record, noting that major biblical events often began with subtle signs, changes in nature, shifts in human behavior, unexplained phenomena, and intense spiritual awakening. And even though no one dared to make declarations, more and more voices whispered online that what happened on the Temple Mount might be the faint beginning of something significant, something that could reshape everything people thought they knew about prophecy and time. As the days turned into weeks, the world didn't forget. In fact, interest grew. Searches for supernatural signs in Israel skyrocketed, and thousands of people began sharing their own personal experiences, shocks of intuition, strange coincidences, moments where they felt watched or guided. It was as if the Temple Mount incident had awakened something that had been slumbering in the human soul, calling people to pay attention to a world that is deeper and more mysterious than they ever imagined. And this is the part that leaves people most unsettled. The feeling that everything happening now is part of a chain reaction. A quiet one, invisible to those who don't look for it, but unmistakable to those who sense spiritual movements. A reaction that is spreading not through chaos, but through meaning, through signs, through whispers, through the ground itself. No one knows yet what this all points to. No one can say where this path leads, but the undeniable truth is that something has shifted, and the world, whether it realizes it or not, standing at the edge of something that may carry far more weight than anyone expected. If this video spoke to you in any way, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you stayed with me until the very end, I want you to comment the phrase, "I'm paying attention." Your like also helps this message reach exactly who needs to hear it. So if you felt a connection, go ahead and tap it now. And don't stop here, there's another video appearing on your screen at this moment, and it continues a path that only a few people are truly prepared to segue. Watch it now, because what comes next is something you won't want to discover late.